and commercial. We were the tenant rep division, meaning we're on the side that doesn't represent landlords.
Yeah.
Right. And there was Pete and Vic. We're head of the division. And I was a 23-year-old kid working underneath them, working long hours, making 100 plus dials a day, and basically broke as hell for the first 2-3 years. And they called me in their office probably 2.5 years in, and they told me, hey, we're quitting, we're starting Bespoke, and there's a spot for you on the team. And, credit to my 23, 24-year-old self, I didn't hesitate, and I took the opportunity.
Boom, live, another episode on Adversity Kings, episode 30-something, who knows? And we got Steve, how do I pronounce the last name?
Rasiarmos, it's a goofy Greek last name.
Okay, dope, Steve Rasiarmos. So how long you been in Chicago, bro?
I was born and raised in the suburbs, so grew up in Addison. I had a mom who was a teacher, a dad who laid floors. It really taught me, everything I know, work ethic-wise, morals, values. Went away for school to Iowa for 4 years and came back, and Chicago's my home, and I'm not leaving it.
So siblings growing up?
Yeah, I got an older brother, older sister, my best friends.
Yep.
Super close. Again, I'm Greek, so family's
Is Greek
huge.
real tight-knit?
Yeah, dude. I mean,
family-wise?
my family parties are nuts.
Italian? Are there like Sunday dinners?
Yeah, and so the long story short, married my high school sweetheart, who's 100% Sicilian.
Yeah.
Right. So our family parties are absolutely insane.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
First cousin, second cousin, third cousins.
Yep.
People who are not even related, but it's a ton of fun. Wouldn't have it another way.
What do your siblings do?
So my brother is an ops manager for a frozen food company.
Yeah.
They do like a 3PL. And then my sister's a physical therapist for Atletico.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're great role models for me.
What'd your wife do?
Wife does PR for a medical software company. But she legit is a rock star because she's a full-time mom and she works full-time as well.
I know you had kids.
Yeah, I got a little girl, Mila. She's about 2.5, and I got another one on the way in May.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah, we're pumped.
Rocking and moving.
We are pumped.
So, how did your parents meet?
That's a good question. I do know that they went to the same high school, didn't know each other in the high school, met through mutual friends after high school, and I want to say they broke up, got back together, and they've been together very young. Had us in their late 20s, early 30s.
Yep.
And they're the best people ever. So,
yeah. So was your dad, you said he laid floors, was he in a union?
Yeah, so he started off in a union, then broke up and did his own thing. Hardwood floors, so I know everything about hardwood floor. You can ask me, I know it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I got my work ethic, right? I would see him wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go provide for his family.
Yep.
We would stretch it down. We were well off, middle class, never poor.
Yeah.
But I understood the word no.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't get everything I wanted and had to earn, especially being the baby of the family. Right.
Yeah.
So I got the hand-me-downs, got my ass kicked by my brother, got my ass kicked by my sister.
Yeah.
Right. So, very fortunate for the family I have, without a doubt.
So I'm going to set up TikTok live or something. I don't know, something. What was growing up like though for you? Like what kind of stood out to you going through grade school to middle school and high school? Like what were some things that stood out to you aside from, the typical, cliche, the morals and values and things you got from your parents, but like what was your childhood really like for you?
Yeah, it was competitive, right? Grew up with a brother who's a hell of an athlete, and so he was 6'3" and threw a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. I didn't get the blessing of those athletic gifts, so I had to fight every way I can. I had to be smarter, right?
Yeah.
So I had to take advantage of where I saw fit, and that really helped who I am today. And then also I learned to value relationships. Most of my best buddies I've known since grade school.
Yeah.
Right. And I cherish those relationships like no other. My best friend I knew pretty much from birth. He was my next door neighbor. I don't remember meeting him. And that guy I'd do anything for him, right? I'd run through a brick wall for him. I'd take a bullet for him.
What's he do?
He does, he's like an electrician, right?
Okay.
And so, Ryan, He actually just had his first daughter a few months ago, and just, he's a soundboard, right? Like he's the guy I go to when I'm down, or when he's down, he comes to me, and there's no filter. There's hard truths. There's hard conversations. We're not gonna bullshit each other, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's so important to have those people in your life that are gonna check you.
Yeah.
Right. Make you humble.
Yeah.
So that's, I would just tell you those are the main things. Is, I learned my childhood, because it was a good childhood. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Better than most. I'm fortunate that way. But I learned that, you're gonna have to work for what you eat, and the people that help you along the way, don't ever forget that.
Absolutely. So now, is he in a union with the electrical?
Yeah. Yeah.
Electrical workers, maybe.
Yeah.
I asked, we're unionized life
Yeah,
insurance company,
exactly.
so that's how we get all our leads.
Yeah.
Now, so specifically though, growing up, were there any, like, I feel like every kid has, like, I always think of, when I ask this question, that movie, with the, you'll shoot your eye out. What the hell is that movie? A Christmas Story?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's that one story or something for you growing up where it's like, you did something, you look back, you can laugh at it, but like, you really kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, you made like a mistake or something like that. Obviously, we got a bunch, but is there any like laughable, you know what I mean, growing up where you're like, oh man, I remember when we were kids, and I remember we made like a fire behind some car wash in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, because there's a lot of stories just, being mischievous, and it seemed like every day we were outside.
Yeah.
Right. And what trouble can we get into?
So different nowadays.
Yeah. And it's a shame, because I moved to a suburb in Bloomingdale, and I look outside when I get home from work, and there's not one kid outside.
Right. It's so weird.
And so I would tell you, there was nothing crazy, but the fact that, we were outside from sunrise to sundown.
You would be like pissed if you weren't allowed to go outside.
Yeah. I was grounded from outside.
Yeah. You get grounded from that would be the worst.
Yeah. And so like, and again, remember, there was no way of my parents getting a hold of me, right? Yep. So I'd just be out on my bike, getting in any trouble we wanted to get in.
Yeah.
And little did my parents know if I was okay or not. I had to be home for dinner.
Yep.
Right. If I wasn't home for dinner, it was a problem.
Yeah.
And then we'd eat our dinner as quick as possible and get right back outside.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, I mean, my childhood was, the memories are, just good friends, good people.
What sports did you play?
I played baseball, basketball, football, and then I focused on baseball pretty much in high school. Yeah. And again, I was crafty, so I wasn't.
What did you play, like shortstop?
I was left-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
And then for basketball, point guard, and then football, I'd play cornerback, and then slowly but surely, not slowly, I figured out really quick that I wasn't growing as quick as the other guys.
Yeah.
Right. So freshman, sophomore year of high school, I realized I had to rely on my wit.
Yeah.
Rely on my practice. Anything to get an edge. And so I was able to compete with guys that are faster, bigger, stronger, because I would look for ways that they would just rely on their talent.
Yeah.
Right. At some point that stops, right? Talent and hard work wins when you don't have the talent. And so, but my love for sports and team, the team aspect, the locker room of sport, that's something that's never gone away. And so that's kind of what translated into my career, is finding something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Something where I can be competitive, something where I feel I can go after and get it, and have a team around me that's going to rah-rah. And that's the fun part about Bespoke, where I work, is we have that atmosphere. We have that culture. We're a team, right? We root for each other. We get hard on each other, where, if someone's not doing their job, you're out.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going to sit around and watch you waste talent.
Now, you went to the main University of Iowa?
Yes.
And was that scholarships?
No. So it was paid my way.
Yeah.
Help from my parents a little. And
what'd you get a degree in?
So I got a degree in communications, but I concentrated in law.
Okay.
So my goal was to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure I wanted to pay $40,000 a year to go to law school.
Yeah.
I didn't think I liked being a lawyer that much, so I tested the waters and stumbled upon real estate and haven't looked back. And I'll tell you about education, because to me, my generation is really indifferent on our college experience.
Yeah.
Right? Where we were the generation, the guinea pig of, we had parents who really harped you had to go to get a degree, because else you're not going to get a job. But no one saw the backlog of, here's student loans for the next 4 years or the next 10 years, right? And so I would tell you, my money to Iowa was worth it, but only 50% of the reason was education. The other
Yeah.
50% was the experience I got there.
Yeah.
Learn how to talk to people, learn how to build relationships, meet someone new every day,
Yeah.
right? That's where the value of college came in for me, where I can go to a bar with clients, have a few beverages and not talk like an asshole,
Yeah.
right? I learned that without even knowing that in those 4 years of school,
Yeah.
right? And so being able to talk to people and ask real questions and care and listen, those are valuable traits I got from school that I didn't realize I was learning.
Yeah.
So.
Facts. So, and then did you play any sports when you were at Iowa?
No, just intramural stuff. I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
My brother played on the ball team there.
Yeah.
So that was the real cool experience about college was, I got to go with my brother for 2 years there.
Yeah.
He lived in the apartment above me. So all our best friends became best friends.
Yeah.
And we had a fun crew. So
That's dope.
yeah.
That's real dope. And then from college, did you have any internships or anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, so I worked for a bullshit marketing firm for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Hated it. Didn't hate it because of marketing. I hated it because it wasn't good people.
Yeah.
Right. And so then I took a random interview with this guy who does real estate that happened to go to University of Iowa and fell in love with what he told me. And that's who my mentor is to this day. Yeah.
Wow. So you went from that internship right into
Yeah. And so,
Bespoke, right?
So we were Chicagoland Commercial. We were the tenant rep division, meaning we're on the side that doesn't represent landlords.
Yeah.
Right. And there was Pete and Vic were head of the division. And I was a 23-year-old kid working underneath them, working long hours, making 100+ dials a day, and basically broke as hell for first 2-3 years. And they called me in their office probably 2.5 years in, and they told me, hey, we're quitting. We're starting Bespoke, and there's a spot for you on the team. And, credit to my 23, 24-year-old self, I didn't hesitate, and I took the opportunity.
And then, so who was your mentor then?
So Vic San Miguel and Pete Billmeyer.
Okay. And so they own Bespoke.
They own Bespoke, yeah. So
Okay.
So there was 4 of us who started it.
Yeah.
Me and another colleague of mine, Emily Smith, and then Pete and Vic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say like you and Emily are like the senior vice president sales reps?
Me and Emily, and there's another guy, Bill, who are the only ones that have titles besides the owners.
Okay.
But yeah, we help. I take a lot of pride in. We help build the thing, right?
So, and then, what is what would be the, obviously Bespoke is the title of the company, but what would be the description?
Yeah, so Bespoke means custom tailored, right? So Bespoke's, it's actually like bespoke, but we say Bespoke. Means custom tailored suit, pretty much, right?
Okay.
So,
In what language?
maybe Latin. I'm not even
Okay.
sure. I could be wrong on that, but so we took that to heart because that's how we sell our clients: is that we're going to learn your needs, and we're not going to try to fit you in a box you don't fit into.
Yeah.
The real estate strategy is going to be custom to your business needs.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to sit down. We're going to ask you hard questions. We're going to learn about your operation. We're going to learn about your goals going forward for the next 12, 3, 5, 10 years. And then we back into a real estate strategy. So very similar to what we're doing with you is like, we need to learn what Tristan does for a living. We're going to learn. We got to meet his team.
Yep.
We got to, see what his goals and aspirations are. And then we can start talking real estate.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going from, hey, you feel like you want to buy a building. Well, let's go see if that makes some sense. Right. Maybe this is the other avenue. Right. And we just present all opportunities for you. And that's how we build loyalty and trust, is because there's no agenda on our end besides learning your business and putting you in a position where, man, hopefully 3 years from now, Tristan can go and buy his dream building because of what we did for that 3-year real estate strategy. Right. So it's really cool, and it's unique.
And then how did we get in contact again?
So we got in contact because Cody, who you've met, had a good feel that you guys weren't a good fit in this building. Right. And so we reached out via email, and you said, hey, I'll take a meeting with you guys.
Yeah.
And, credit to Cody for.
But how did he know we weren't, like, how
old school way, man. So we canvass buildings, right? So basically what happens is, Cody probably walked this one day, started on the 3rd floor and went to every door and wrote down the company name and suite number.
Yeah.
Right. And then he went back to his desk, Googled it and figured out who was the head contact.
Yeah.
And then we start reaching out, right? And so why we do that, because we can easily go online, get a database, and make calls, right?
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of advantage, like Cody saw with you guys. Hey, walking the second floor, something doesn't seem right here. It's probably worth reaching out,
Yeah.
right? Where you don't get that when you just see Tristan Dlabik, suite 200.
Yeah.
So that's again, old school way, doing the work, not taking shortcuts.
Yeah.
Opens opportunity.
So is that how you guys do a majority of your marketing, would you say?
We have a marketing team.
Okay.
But that's how we do majority of getting our prospects. Yes.
Okay.
It's we're a small company, so we have to wear many hats, right?
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it, because we are small, our splits are better,
Yeah.
right? So you're going to do a little more work on the front end, and but you'll be rewarded on the back end.
And then how long has Bespoke been in business then?
About 7 years, 7.5 years.
7.5 years. Oh, okay. Dope. So with that, what all does that entail? So can you guys do building as well? Like, can you build, like if somebody came to you and was like, hey, we want to build a $10 million building. Can you go out, find the property and find everything needed to build this out?
We have a whole division for it, right? So that's not my expertise, but we have the guy to do it. So, and that's the cool part.
Now, would you contract that out? Like you would subcontract that, or you have it already like incorporated in?
We have
in
networks, right? Okay. So basically, we know the guys that can help you build it.
Yeah.
So we'd help you find the land. We help you go through the whole experience of who you should hire to build it, the permit codes, the village codes, all that stuff. It's a lot, and you need someone to help you that's done it for years and has years experience of it, because there's going to be headaches, there's going to be hurdles you don't foresee. Not to mention, just to get the best deal possible.
Now, are you only licensed to do work in Illinois, or remember you guys saying you have some operations in
No, we
Dallas?
we can do, I forgot how many states out of the country. Our Illinois license goes to so many states in the country. I think, weirdly, it's not Wisconsin. But yeah, we do deals in Dallas. We've done deals in Atlanta, California, Florida, all over. And so the cool part about us is we kind of, we preach that we have this market knowledge, right? That it separates us. Is no one knows these two buildings better than me, right? Well, it's impossible for me to tell you that for your Dallas office. Hey, I know Dallas really well, right? I'd be lying. I only do a handful of deals in my career in Dallas. So what we do is we team up with the like-minded company that is based in Dallas, who we know is going to care about you guys and run the relationship the way we would, but you're still getting that market knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just so important is, I can go try to find your Dallas operation, and we're probably going to leave a few dollars on the table because I don't know how I'm doing in Dallas.
Yeah.
But I'm going to team up with someone who does, and he's going to say, no, Steve, push here, and ultimately gets my client the best deal.
So the licensing's in different states. Is that difficult? Do you guys have to take a test for each state if you want to acquire?
No, once you get the license
in your resident state, you can buy the other ones.
Yeah,
same deal like life insurance.
Yeah, and then we have to renew it every 2 years.
Same.
Yeah,
same.
It's a money grab.
Yeah, same. So, what would you say is like a successful, deal start to finish? What does that all look like when it comes to getting approvals, permissions, and write-ups, and what does the process look like for a successful deal, generally?
Let's back it up. So I think I'll probably blow your mind with how long our deal cycle is.
Oh, I can imagine.
Right. So let's start from finding the prospect, to get in the meeting, to when is their lease up, to finding the space, to negotiate the space, to build out. Right. So, for instance, if we called you and you said, hey, my lease is not up for another 3 years. Right. So now we have 3 years that you are a prospect to us, right? So how do we make ourselves look valuable to Tristan for 3 years before you can even make a decision, right? And so that's staying on top of you, every, 3 or 4 months, just checking in, putting market updates, building that loyalty, building that trust, doing exactly what we said we're going to do.
Yeah.
So when time comes right for the meeting, you take it.
Yeah.
Right? And so then basically we took the meeting, when did we meet? August?
Yeah.
So, we met in August, and now it's February. So we went 6 months of trying to find a decent space for you.
Yep. We're
not at the finish line whatsoever, and I would tell you this is a quicker deal than most, right? Most times we meet with people 18 to 24 months from a lease expiration, and it takes probably a full year to get a deal done before we see a commission.
So you would say a year and a half till you see a full commission?
Yeah, I would tell you between 12 and 18 months.
12 and 18
from
months.
that first reach out
Yeah.
to when someone signs a lease, right?
And this is brokering commercial real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you do any individual?
I don't have any investment properties myself.
Does Bespoke
Yeah,
do any
yeah.
individual?
Yeah. So
Would it be multi-million and above? Like if you're going into like homes and things like that?
I would tell you every deal is different. And our client are gonna, so we don't rep buildings or we don't own buildings, right? So that's important to know so we can tell you we're conflict free,
Yeah.
right? So the only time we'll go and buy a building or, we do have some investment properties that my guys, Vic and Pete will flip really quick. But it's important for us to stay true to who we are, and we don't rep our own buildings because it just leads to conflict free. But when our client wants to go purchase a building,
Yeah.
that's when we get involved with this.
So what if somebody said, like, what if I came to you and was like, hey, look, I want to get an apartment complex?
I would probably refer you to the best guy.
So you guys wouldn't look to be like, let's go out there and find it, and we'll help broker the deal.
We would be able to kind of advise you on what to look for and stuff like that, but I would be lying to you if I said I'm an expert, right? So I'm so conscious of and take so much pride
The
in
relationship.
Exactly. And if I'm going to tell you, you should not trust anyone but a guy who does commercial real estate for a living, who doesn't represent landlords to do your office lease, how can I say, hey, Tristan, let me go rep you on this multifamily building and fuck you?
Yeah.
Right? And so, luckily, my company's built in a way where we're not greedy and we don't need a good fee. And sometimes these guys will offer us referral fees, and we'll just say, no, just do a good job.
Yeah.
Tristan's a great guy. Take care of him.
Yeah.
Because Tristan's going to remember when his friend's looking for office space, here's Steve's card. He's your guy.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how when we see it. It's like that go-giver model.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Where just keep giving, and good stuff's going to come back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Fire. So, I guess kind of with that, what are some of like the challenging, obstacles with the deals that you see that just typically occur, or maybe they rarely occur? What are some challenges and obstacles that pop up when it comes to, brokering these deals?
I mean, first off, you look at it as you're dealing with a very high expense to a business, right? It's a top 3 expense.
Yeah.
And our clientele are probably held businesses. So it matters, with the money in their pocket, right?
Yeah.
And so economics are always very sensitive in making sure that the company can afford it and not put them in a bad spot. But also it's the flexibility of these terms and making sure that we can find you the right space, the right location, but it's not going to put you in a spot where it backs your business into a corner because you sign a 10-year lease and all of a sudden it's year 2 and you're 100 people.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's learning up front, which I feel like we do a better job than most, so we can avoid those hurdles, and we don't try to put a round peg in a square hole, right? Or square peg in a round hole.
I didn't realize how challenging, and how detailed commercial real estate was until I was 20 years old, and they sent me out to Lincoln, Nebraska, and told me to go open up my own office. I was a regional director, so I wasn't in ownership like
Right.
I am now, but I had to go meet with local real estate agents and then go out and find, and I'm 20 years old, so I can imagine, a 20-year-old coming up to you and saying, I got some money to spend,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and I'm looking for a place. So luckily I built really good relationships with individuals that genuinely did care, and didn't just try to take advantage
Right.
of me. But it was weird I just thought, I was like, all right, they're going to show me, and something I want clarity on right now is they're just going to show me like, hey, look, this is $2,000 a month. It's $2,000 a month. You know what I mean? Whatever. But I remember, going through lease options and going through the square footage, and we would calculate square footage. But then there would also be like, in addition to the projected lease, then it was like flex lease or something like that. There was additional things, you know what I mean, that was taken into consideration. And I don't know, do you know what I'm talking about by chance?
Yeah, I mean, they'll try to, so
Like when they show lease options, they show the square foot. So obviously the dollar per square footage, but then there's additional expenses
Yeah.
either per square footage or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
I don't know if it's state regulated or
No, it's
tax
every
regulated.
building's different. Yeah, it's taxed. So basically, you were looking at net rental rate, meaning here's
The
your
net.
$12 per square.
Yes.
On top of the net rental rate, your tax and operating expenses.
What is that called though? Is that the flex?
It's on top, right? So it's just
Swear they
tax.
had a term.
They call it CAM, common area maintenance.
I've heard that before. Yep.
So, so like this lease you have here is a modified gross lease. So your tax and CAM is built into your rental rate.
Yep.
Right. And so
Now modified, does that adjust annually?
So modified is another tricky one, right? And this is why exactly what you're saying, like how to understand all this.
Yeah.
Imagine being 20 in real estate trying to learn it, right?
Yeah.
And every landlord's got a different definition, and that's why you need someone saying, what the hell does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Because modified gross here might be different than modified gross there just because a landlord thinks it's different.
Yeah.
Right? So modified gross means, and try to put it really quick and simple, is if taxes in 2020 are $5 a square foot, and in 2021 they're $5.10 a square foot.
This is going up 10.
You're going up 10 cents a square foot.
Yep.
Right. So, but the shitty thing about modified gross is if it goes down to $4.50 a square foot, you don't see the benefit. But the net lease you would.
So, but the owner would obviously see the benefit on the $4.50 drop, right?
Yep.
And they don't have to, obviously educate you on that.
No, I mean you give exactly. It's but every ownership's different, man. And that's why when we're going through these buildings lately, it's like it's important for you to have a good feel for the people running the business or building and the ownership of the building, even though it can change. It's important that you have a broker that has a relationship with the building, right? And he can tell you, I've done 5 deals with this guy. He's a man of his word. He's going to do a good build out for you.
Yeah.
Right. Or he can say, hey, yeah, you can do this building, but watch out. I know it's cheap, but this landlord's going to nickel and dime you for everything.
Yeah.
Right. So pointing out those headaches for you to have a good quality of life, if you're going to sign a long-term lease is so important.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times you get what you pay for, right? So if you go the cheapest route, which is fine, but you just got to be prepared that, hey, you might deal with them nickeling and diming for you every time a light bulb goes out. Right. Yeah. But that's the whole beautiful thing about our market and our once you have a market, learning it, understanding it, because then you really can provide value outside of just economics.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I'm trying to think here in regard to just the expenses and everything that come along with the deals. Would that can be the biggest one that most individuals aren't familiar with, or are there other expenses that are associated when it comes to getting into leasing or buying big properties and things like that?
No, I wouldn't say. I think people don't realize what it costs to get an office up and running.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of companies have to wire space. That ain't fucking cheap.
No.
Furniture.
Thank God we don't have to do that shit.
Yeah, furniture is not cheap.
Yep. What's a move out typically cost? Because that's something we're gonna have to eat. And I'm thinking about that. I'm like,
not much.
You think I can get away with moving half of this shit out for $4,000, $3,000?
Because of how flexible you guys are, yes. Because you guys can man up and move some of this yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, the larger square footage you have and the more furniture you have, yeah, right, it can get expensive. But that's why we negotiate free rent up front, right?
Yep.
Hey, mister across the street, we have moving cost. So if you want us to move over there, we need X amount of months free to help with those moving costs, right? So that's the whole game. But even like think about business cards. You move, you got to change the address on the business card, right? Stuff like that. It's kind of you don't think about. But that's the fun part of my job is like, hey, do you have a furniture guy? Do you have an electrician guy? Like, it's asking all those questions so you're prepared for the move.
Yeah. So what's the future look like? What's the, what does the next 5 to 7 years look like for you?
Great. Oh, for me or for the industry? Kind
of both. What's your feels? What's your vibe?
Yeah. So, industry, I never thought what I do for a living would be the headlines, of the business world the last 24 months because of COVID.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone's working from home and hybrid model. Is it a good fit? Is it long term? So that's where everyone's still trying to figure out. What I will tell you and I'll be bullish on it without trying to seem slanted, is majority of my clients who are business owners who write the rent check want to be back in the office.
Yeah.
Right? They see the productivity. They understand
People
it.
don't work from home. Your home is your fucking home.
Right. No, and again, it works for some people, not all.
I guess I shouldn't say everybody doesn't work from home.
But here's the thing: is what these owners are struggling to do is how do we convince these employees to come back without losing them?
Yeah.
Right. And so they're going through this, and a lot of them are now just ripping the Band-Aid off and say, hey, if you can go to bars and you can go to concerts and you can go to restaurants, you can come to the office.
Yeah.
Right. And
I think I should say, furthermore, to follow up on that, the intentionality and the productivity in correspondence with an in-office presence. For me, I tell these guys, I would prefer to always be in office because it's kind of like going to the gym and you working out alone. No one's saying you can't have a great workout, but when you work out and your friend's there, you know what I mean? You're looking over what weight's he lifting or how fast is she walking or how fast is she running, whatever it might be. And you're comparing and contrasting and you're just naturally wanting to do more. You're just that innate competitive nature that every human being has, that fight or flight mentality of like, I just have to do better. It only helps you in the long run.
Yeah, dude. And the other part is, we are social beings.
Yeah.
Right? So having people talk
I think that's what's wrong with the world too. Like how we were outside, me growing up in the South, like I was outside growing up. Even when my parents split up and I came up to the North, I was like, every day I just wanted to go outside and play, kickball or, whatever it might be. And with that, I feel like nowadays everyone's just on their phone or like little kids. I can't even remember.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. And
here's
the other thing with the work from home is we all have competitors in our industries, right?
Yeah.
Can you afford to be the one that doesn't work in the office?
Yeah.
Right. You're going to lose that competitive edge. Right. Yeah. And then also for you, and I know you're big on mentoring relationships, is, if these guys are working from home, how are they going to see their career path? Who's going to be their mentor? How are they going to see the next step? How are they going to get promoted? Right. And so owners get it. Business owners get it. And I think a lot of them are getting frustrated with it and eventually are just going to, pull the ripcord.
Yeah.
It just, obviously with COVID always changing, it kind of like pushes it back, right? We kept saying, okay, September of last year, things are coming back. And then it was January of this year, things are coming back. Well, I just
now started to see in the news some vetoes, like even New York, which I considered very just liberal, you know what I mean? And they seem to have vetoed mask mandates. I don't know if I saw that. I have no idea what any of this shit means. I had my lawyer on here actually, and it was cool because you mentioned you wanted to get in the law, and we were talking about. I was asking him. I was just curious. I was like, what's up with the vax mandates and the mask mandates? And he's like, technically Roe versus Wade. If you were put in a situation where you didn't want to participate, you know what I mean? Like I never go out of my way. Like I was telling you, I don't go out of my way to piss people off. You know what I mean? I pretty much stay in the office. Right. But there does come a time and a place when someone starts to invade your personal being and space, and I'm like, can they really mandate you to do something to your body? And he's like, well, technically, with the Roe versus Wade case, you know what I mean, the right to your own privacy or your own being, that people aren't able to force you to do what you don't want to do with your body. Yeah,
it's
so it's confusing to me because it looks like some of these were what I would consider like a liberal capital to start to go back on what they were even expecting. So I was like, that's got to flood over to Chicago here.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, people are pissed off.
Yeah.
Right. And to a point where like the Cameo CEO just came out with the article this week. I think I'll send it to you, where he basically ran an experiment because he was one of the first guys that came out to get the Cameo app with the celebrities.
Yeah.
And he's one of the first ones that came out and said, hey, we're going to be fully remote. Right. Yeah. No one needs to come to the office. Well, fast forward 18, 24 months later, he realized productivity was starting to take a hit. And so what he did was he brought X amount of people back to the office. And what he found out in that experiment is they were 4 times more productive, meaning they did 4 days worth of work in 1 day.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that, people are going to start reading that stuff and be like, okay, it's time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And I'm not saying you have to be in the office from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. I think if you want to go to a 3 p.m. dentist appointment on Tuesday, go. Yeah. Right? I think that might be the nice thing about COVID is you won't be so frowned upon hey, I got to pick up my kid on Tuesday and Thursdays. I'll be leaving early, but obviously I'll be working from home.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the stuff that might be a positive of COVID is there'll be more flexibility.
Yeah.
Where maybe you're working from home a couple days a week, right? Or, when you do come to the office, because you're not a full-time employee in the office, they call it hoteling stations, where there's a cube there for you, but Tuesday it's going to be for him and Wednesday it's going to be for him.
Yeah.
Right. So there'll be pros to it for sure. It just, I think, I would tell you summer's kind of where we're seeing it now with this whole Omicron or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But, what I will tell you is people are, owners of companies are starting to be ready to make decisions. And it's cool to kind of be in the front line when it comes to what the office space needs to be to help them get back.
So my next question leads into books. Maybe like one of your favorite books, maybe your top 2 or 3.
Actually, I will just tell you one that I just finished. It's called Atomic Habits.
Yeah, great book.
And so, what I'll tell you is it's just a good reminder on certain shit where, what I took out of it was
James Clear.
Yes. And what I took out of it was, the standard's a standard.
Yep.
Right. And you set goals and aspirations for yourself and don't self-negotiate with yourself.
Yep.
Right. Don't say it's okay to be in the office at 7:15 when you set the goal to be there at 7 a.m.
Yep.
Right. It's funny we're having this conversation because it's the 2-year anniversary of Kobe passing away today.
Yep.
And that's a guy that, lived and breathed hard work, right? And not accepting anything less for himself, but any people around him, right? If you're going to hang out with Kobe, you were going to meet his standards, else you weren't welcome on his team.
Yep.
Right? And that's why him and Shaq never got along until Shaq started respecting him, because he was holding Shaq to a certain level, and Shaq was getting away with just banking on his talent, right? Cool. I don't know if you know the story with Kobe, but probably Kobe's last year, second to last year, they drafted this kid, Julius Randle, out of Kentucky, first round pick. And, he's starting off slow his rookie season. Well, Julius Randle's from Dallas. They're, Lakers got a road trip to Dallas for a away game on Sunday night. They get in Saturday night. Randle's got big plans to meet up with family and friends. His first time back since being in the NBA. They get off the plane, and Kobe goes to Randle. He goes, what are you doing tonight? And he's like, oh, I got big plans. He's like, no, you're coming to the gym with me. And Randle's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's like, no, you're coming to the gym. So they ran out this high school gym. They put up 1,000 shots, and they made it tradition that Randle was going to join Kobe every time they're away game. They were going to rent a gym after they got off the plane. Fast forward, Julius Randle's now an all-star for the New York Knicks, and he continues to do this tradition. And so, I think it was Detroit, gets off the plane, goes and rents this high school gym, and the maintenance guy lets him in, and he's like, man, it's good to see NBA players are still doing this. He's like, what do you mean? He goes, the only guy I've seen in the last 10 years be here was Kobe Bryant. And like Randle just like, man, full circle, the guy preached, did what he preached. And I mean, it's just kind of just shows you, you set standards, you set work ethic, and you follow them, man. The sky's the limit, without a doubt.
Absolutely. So I always lead into some of my other favorite topics, favorite food. Growing up Greek, did you have a lot of Greek homemade food?
Yeah.
Do you like that Greek restaurant right there?
I do.
Is that any good? Like in comparison, like real good, authentic Greek food?
It's not the worst, not the best.
Yeah. What's the best?
I mean, I'll tell you.
Mom and dad.
Yeah, and then you can go to Greektown in Chicago, and if you stay away from the main ones and you go to like a bar called like Spectrum in Chicago and you get the lamb chops there, they're unreal.
Now, do you say gyro or gyro?
I say gyro. I'm the most American Greek you're gonna meet.
Is it not gyro?
No, it's Gyro. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Isn't it a Gyro?
It's Gyro. But I mean, I think there's probably an accent to the Euro. I'm probably not saying it right myself.
It's not G?
It's Gyro.
And you say Euro.
Yeah. Yep.
Where does the U come in?
No fucking clue. It's got to be Greek. Part of the Greek language of how you switch that GY.
Do you like gyros?
Yeah, love
or
them.
euros?
Yeah,
I should say.
I love lamb chops, man.
Love lamb chops.
Yeah, so
Capital Grill has good lamb chops.
they do.
Baklava. Is that Greek?
Baklava is Greek.
I love baklava.
Delicious.
It's probably one of my favorite desserts. Is baklava.
It's delicious, man. Yeah, I mean the Greeks do it right. So do Italian. Like my mother-in-law is unreal.
Yeah.
Right.
What are some of your favorite dishes? We're in food, so now we gotta.
Oh man, we gotta go out to eat.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, I can eat anything, right? You nailed it, but like a good burger is good to me. There's a venison burger.
This kid, he did an internship with us, and his dad is a percentage owner in the Gibsons right down the road.
Yeah.
And he told me one of the best burgers he's ever had is in the city of Chicago. And I could text him right now and ask him.
It's probably like Au Cheval is known for their burger.
I think he says Au Cheval.
Yeah, I mean they're known. Like every time you walk to Au Cheval's in the West Loop, and like Tuesday at 10 a.m. there's a line out the door.
Yeah. Holy hell.
Yeah, and it's good. It's really good.
I like if you ever go up north. It might just be Pennsylvania, but Burgatory.
Yeah,
and you can do custom build. You know what I mean, from the meat to everything.
Yeah, I mean there's. I mean I'll tell you right now, the one big pro of Chicago, man, is there's some good eats.
Yeah,
there really is.
Yeah, there is.
In all aspects of food.
Some Michelin star restaurants. I don't know if you're familiar. With the Michelin stars, that's kind of cool. But those you really kind of get into just fancy looking. You know what I mean? Obviously, they got to taste good. But
and some are really fucking good.
Yeah.
And some are like, man, I'd rather go to that mom and pop.
Yeah, dude.
Hot dog joint down the street.
Dog.
Right? And so that's the best part about Chicago is you get these mom and pop. And like,
hell yeah.
So I lived in River North in my mid-20s, and I couldn't find a good pizza delivery spot for the life of me because rent drove out the mom and pop spots.
Yeah.
But when you come out to Lombard over here, or you come out where I grew up in Addison, the small mom and pop pizza joint that's like two people big.
What's it called?
The one I'm thinking of in Addison is Nardi's. If you guys haven't tried it, it's fantastic.
I've heard of that.
It's like 10 minutes from here.
We do Giordano's.
Yeah. See, so Giordano's is a chain.
Yeah.
Right. So I challenge you to look up and find.
Would you say Nardi's is your favorite pizza?
Yeah, and I'm probably biased on it.
Is it deep dish or
no? It's like it's just regular pizza, but again, it comes in that box with the the cover of it's the country Italy, and it's got the pizza logo.
Yeah.
But again, it's there's only one of them, and it's a family that runs it, old school. But that's the stuff I love, right? Those kind of hidden gems, those hole in the walls that you would never think. But they're sneaky good.
Nardi's Pizza. Do they deliver? You think they would deliver here?
It would be close.
Yeah,
It'd be close. But
so Nardi's favorite pizza place. You have a favorite restaurant, or you just kind of whatever?
Yeah, there's GT Fish and Oyster in Chicago is probably my favorite. Trying to think what else. I mean, it's like favorite meals, But again, I'm not like snobby where you can get me to go get a $5 burger somewhere. Like
yep.
I'm
putting this all in my notes.
Yeah, I love food. And that's actually part of Bespoke's culture, right? Is the food aspect where we take the team out all the time and we have good food and good drink and the value of just being together around the table is crazy.
You can't. Yeah, there's so much value in taking people out to eat. I be telling my young leaders that they don't take people out to eat enough, but nobody listens till I go out there and find the next person to pass somebody up.
Yeah, it's like, and I had to learn it too, and I'm still learning it. Is it's putting the extra work in, putting the extra hours in, and enjoying it.
Yep.
Right, where you feel like Tristan and me are gonna go out to eat, and it doesn't feel like a client relationship. It feels like a genuine friendship.
Yeah, genuine friendship.
Right, and that's something I'm getting better at. Right,
yep.
Where it sucks I don't go home to my wife and my kid.
Yeah,
but then the end game is so more important to have a relationship with Tristan, for he trusts me, and
yep.
I get to learn who he is for I can kind of understand how how you work.
Yep.
Right. And that ultimately just leads to I can just come out and ask you flat out hard questions, and you have no problem answering them truthfully because you got to learn a little more about me. Right. That's what this conversation is doing right now.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was happy to come on here because it was like, what do I know about Tristan? Do I know anything about him? Right. And just talking to you, it's like we're wired very similarly.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of our, a lot of the things that are important to us at the core are similar.
Yeah,
right?
Facts. What about your hobbies outside of work? Obviously, you have a family, but like, is there anything that you love doing, collecting, or you'd like to put your money into?
Yeah, so I love basketball. We used to play every Saturday, and that was my favorite thing to do. COVID's kind of fucked that up a little.
Where'd you guys play?
We would just rent a rec center up, and we'd get 10 or 11 guys and play 5-on-5, and it was just the best. The best because it was all best buddies playing, and we're all the same level of talent.
Dude, you should come to Lifetime in Oak Brook. I don't know how close you are.
Yeah, no, I mean, see, and
it's got like 4 courts.
Right.
Nice.
So my problem with Lifetime and stuff
$180 a month.
Yeah, and so I used to do rec leagues, or leagues, and then you run into those guys who don't realize you got to wake up on Monday and go to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I can't break my leg today.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's my.
I can't even imagine. I haven't stepped really on the court to anybody, in a long time because I did mess my ankle up with a guy in this office, and I was like, yeah, I keep doing this. I'm done doing this shit.
But I mean, honestly, right now, man, my life consists of going home to my toddler and playing with her, and she is so much fun. Christmas was a blast. She's at 2.5, so she understands the whole Santa's coming. She actually was terrified of Santa.
Yeah.
But it's still at the stage where when I walk in, she stops whatever the hell she's doing and runs to the door and gives me a hug.
Yeah.
And I understand.
Cherish those moments.
Yeah, I understand it's not going to happen forever.
Yeah.
So but that's my why. Right.
Yeah.
That's my motor. My wife, my kid, and the kid on the way is the reason I work as hard as I do.
You know if it's a girl or a boy?
No, we're gonna be surprised.
Yeah.
Secretly,
you're going with a surprise?
Yeah,
we do a surprise the first time.
We did, and that was easier because at that point you didn't really care if it was a girl or boy. I'd be lying to you today if I told you I don't care on this one. Yeah. Obviously, I kind of want the boy.
Dude.
Obviously, health number one, but if I had my choice. But no, regardless, we're gonna be super happy. Either Mila has a sister, or I get my boy. Yeah. So it'll be.
Just keep taking shots. You know how sales works, dude.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Keep taking shots down. It's got to work out in your favor.
But no, I'm excited. Again, you're mid-20s, young 20s?
Yeah, 23, Jordan year.
Yeah, dude. 23 is one of my favorite years, man, because you again, it's
I feel like I'm like kind of like for sure you can put an emphasis on like the man, like just transitioning. Hey, look.
Well, you learn. You earn some stripes.
Yeah.
You know what work ethic is. You know that you have
been fucked up a little bit in life.
Yeah, exactly,
you know
but it's still acceptable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the cool part is you can balance back and forth of like, hey, be irresponsible, but my mid-20s and late 20s was full of going out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, but I was in the office at 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and so and we have a bunch of guys that part of Bespoke that are like that right now, and I miss it.
Yeah.
Right, I miss seeing these guys. They're like, hey, we're just gonna stay after, have drinks at the bar, and then we're going to this bar for a club, and then we got a DJ.
I haven't gone out since I was 17, 18 years old. For me, fucked up in life is like fucked up by business. Yeah. Or like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like individuals quitting on you. You guys have probably, you know what I mean, experienced.
Oh, and I'll
people
tell you right
not
now,
having
man.
patience.
I'll tell you right now, that's not going to change.
No, not at all.
Right? You're going to continue to fuck up.
Yeah, not at all.
And
I did try to take everybody out for my birthday this past year to turn in 23, right? And went to some place, and this was my first, because I didn't go out for 21. I didn't go out for 22, and I was like, you know what, I've never been out. I'll go out, I'll have one drink. You know what I mean? Because I was a wild-ass kid, wild as hell. So I have no desire to drink or do anything because I was going to college parties at 12, 13 years old. You know what I mean? Right. So we go to some place in Chicago, and long story short, dude, I had, by the end of the night, I didn't even drink. I got 3, because it looked cool, I got 3 or 4 bottles of Ace of Spades. They brought me this bill.
Yeah.
That bitch said $12,000, and I was like, There is no fucking way I'm ever going out again until, you know what I mean? I've got millions liquid.
It was
You
funny.
know what I mean?
It's funny because I literally just gave the young guys my credit card to go interview a kid.
Yeah.
I checked my fucking credit card the next day. I'm like, $500 for fucking couple drinks. What the hell do you guys do?
Yeah,
right?
dude.
But that was part of the process, right? So that's the cool part about going out and sharing drinks is all of a sudden this guy who thinks he's going to get the job loosens up a little.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And you start to ask him questions and you start being a little more honest and you can learn who's his true character.
Yeah.
Can he handle himself after a couple drinks?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so like they don't realize it's a test, but 100% is.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're going to, get this loose around us, what are you going to do around clients?
Around the clients.
Right? And so some guys handle themselves really well, and some guys we've not hired because they don't handle themselves well. And so that's another.
So key.
Yeah. And so, like, for instance, the way that interview process went is the guy met with Pete. Pete said, okay, Steve, I think it's worth your time. So Emily and you are going to sit down with him.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go out to young guys, and we'll get all hands on deck approval before we hire him.
Yeah.
Because it's so important that these guys that are working their ass off from 7 to 6 p.m. every night, if they're going to bring someone into their atmosphere, sit right next to them, it better not mess up the momentum and the culture they have.
Yeah.
It better be a good asset to the team. And if the guys don't feel that way, fuck them. We don't need that guy, right? We'll go find the guy who will fit in. And so that is the. I cannot stress that if you have a bad apple in your company.
Well, Warren Buffett hires and invests in correspondence with character. Like when he's investing in different companies and certain things like that, and doing like the simplest way to understand like his stock analysis and investments is just based off. He looks at the owners and the whatever it is that's contributing or creating that company. What's their character?
Right.
You know what I mean? How do they treat their families, their friends, themselves? What's their growth plan, and whether that be on an individual basis and their business basis. So I think that's a skill set we try to implement here, just like you guys.
Yeah. It's important, man.
How often do you take people golfing?
That's a good question. So in the summer, I would try to tell you I get on the golf course once, let's say 1.5 times every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not good.
Yeah, I'm not good at all.
But we'll take you to Smart Golf.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna have to, because I did my first real estate deal. They took me on a golf course. You know what I mean? The guys that they were trying to. I don't know if they thought they were gonna close me. I was like already closed.
Right.
And we tee off on the first hole, and I think it was pretty much after the first hole that they just had me just keep score.
No, we'll get to. So you just gotta.
Like when I was like, "Hey, look, you guys are good. I'm gonna just take calls. We're good on this deal."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, but I'm telling you, like, if you're competitive and you're looking for something, golf is a hell of a game because the mental aspect, dude. Right, where you have a bad shot, you have to forget about it because the next shot's coming up.
Yeah.
Right. And there's it's a game with it pisses me off because I can hit a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, but this ball that's not moving on the ground, for some reason I can't hit it flush.
Yeah.
Right. But like I said, there's a lot of benefits to it. I didn't fully understand it until probably my late 20s when I got into it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not any good. But just the conversations you have in the golf cart with people that either know more than you.
Yeah.
Or just building relationships, you just learn so much. And
can't beat a good golf cart and a cigar.
No, it's the other part, right?
Dude.
What can you beat? You're outside, you have a cigar in your hand, and you're having a good conversation.
Yeah.
Right. And again, if you're smart enough and you ask good questions, you'll learn something every time.
Yeah.
Right. And again, to me, it's so important to learn who the person is.
Yeah, facts.
And that's a great way because again, it's frowned upon to be on your phone.
Yeah.
So it's like they have no choice, and you have no choice but to give them your undivided attention.
Yeah.
Right. And it does feel good to kind of, not, put your phone down and get outside for 3 hours and not think about work, even though you are working.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, I enjoy it. I didn't think I ever would, but I do enjoy it. So
yeah.
But
what about movies? Do you have any favorite movies?
Oh yeah.
It's like a top 2 or 3 favorite movies.
Shawshank Redemption.
Fire movie.
I am actually a big fan of Forrest Gump.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
But yeah, I mean, anything Leonardo DiCaprio does is phenomenal.
Yep.
Um,
Have you seen The Revenant?
yes.
Fire movie.
Yeah. I mean, that movie's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he filmed it pretty much by himself without talking,
Right.
in actual climate weather. Yeah, he's phenomenal.
I didn't know it was an actual.
Yeah, they went to wherever it was filmed. He filmed it there. Yeah, it wasn't like and he did most of his stunts. So,
That's insane.
And then I think, and I could be wrong on this, but that bear scene where he's like eating it, he legit eats it.
Wow.
Yeah, he's nuts.
That's insane.
Yeah, but there's another.
Embodying.
Yeah, it's an example of perfecting your craft.
Yes.
Right? We're refusing. This is your standard. I want to make it real.
Yes.
Right? And I don't need a stunt double to roll down a hill. Right?
Yeah,
Like
Mamba mentality.
Yeah, exactly, man. The standard, again, that's kind of my mantra for 2022. Standard's the standard.
Standard's the standard.
Like, don't self-negotiate. Don't sleep in.
Yeah. I'm
Get
putting
to-
that in my business group when we hop off here in a minute.
Yeah. And it's actually, I sold it from Mike Tomlin, the Steelers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Cowboys, despite being from Pittsburgh, kind of from Pittsburgh.
Cowboys, they're a hell of a team, man.
So our parent company represents the Cowboys.
Oh, that's what you're telling me. Yeah,
Globe
yeah,
Life is the
yeah.
official life insurance company for the Cowboys.
America's team. I just saw
Yep.
a stat, the top 10 most watched games this year, 8 out of 10 were Cowboy games.
Yep.
Because America still loves them.
Cowboys, dude.
Yeah, my
I
brother's
loved
huge
being
fan.
we were at the, I don't know if it was their opener, but Cowboys versus Eagles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Lots
The
of
first
rivalry
game.
Yeah, too.
It was a great game. It was cool to be in our suite. This is the second time I've been in a Globe Life suite. It's real cool, you know what I mean? Being involved with the company out of high school, just to see the legitimacy, the history, and the credibility in the company. It's real cool.
Yeah, so how did you...
Email is how I got involved.
No shit.
Yeah, weird ass resume, automated sales
Nice.
email, and I went in, checked it out. Some middle-aged dude took me for a ride in a Maserati Gran Turismo, and I was fucking sold,
Yeah.
dude. You know what I mean? Talking about, lights off, water off at the house, no food. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
broke as hell to me seeing a Maserati and like being able to touch it. So it was like,
What's your why? What's your drive? Why?
my why is the pursuit of excellence now, in addition to, obviously my mom, little sister's down there. She's working here now as well. But I would say, for me, the most compelling thing for me is, we only have one life to live. And I feel like it's a damn shame to take any breath and not be considering and actively pursuing excellence in every way, shape, and form of an aspect of your life, mentally, physically, spiritually. Like, you know what I mean? I've been disciplined, so disciplined for the last 4 or 5 years of my life, to the extent of, there's not many individuals that would fare against me in my level of discipline, except for eating. And now I've just honed in on my diet now, for the last 2 or 3 months, and it's really just I have this desire to, I think it's, I've been reading some Stoicism. I think it's Marcus Aurelius. It's like, what good does a man do if he doesn't extract, his greatest form of himself, in his or her life, So I think that would be my number one, and like 1A would be just giving my mom the world as well. But I think, your self-pursuit is the only thing that's going to allow you to do anything for anybody else. So
Yeah, no, it resonates big time, man. I mean, like, for instance, like Monday get better, Tuesday get better, Wednesday get better, right?
Yeah.
It's the self-improvement, that 1%
Absolutely.
every day. And like what's weird about me, and I didn't know about it, I didn't realize this until a few years ago, was like, what the hell motivates me,
yeah,
right? Because, I had a conversation with Vic, and he's like, dude, I don't get you. He goes, you finally made some money, and I'm trying to get you to get to the next step, and it seems like there's a roadblock. And so I realized very quickly there, like, money, nice things, they didn't motivate me.
yeah,
And then I started thinking about it, and I go, what drives me is the opposite. It's experiencing being broke,
yeah,
knowing I don't want to go ever back there,
yeah,
right? And knowing that I made $500 a month for 12 to 24 months that I had to pay back.
yeah,
It was a loan,
yeah,
right? And not being able to afford a taxi, so I'd run 20 minutes in the rain to the train station, soaking wet in my my $100 suit,
yeah.
right? That's the stuff I don't ever want to get back to.
Yeah,
like,
amen. Those are the best stories.
yeah. I mean, like,
That
legit,
shit's
like
fresh on my mind.
when I sleep in, what motivates me to get out of bed, I go back to my girlfriend, who's now my wife, we would go out to lunch Friday, and I would be cowardly in line behind her so she would pay for her meal because I couldn't afford to pay it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that,
compelling.
I mean, that still, when I even say that,
Yeah.
gets me going.
Yeah.
Right? Never, ever
Yeah.
am I going back there near that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not so much having nice things now. That's just the benefit of hard work.
Yep.
But what gets me out of bed is knowing what broke feels like.
Yeah.
Knowing what rock bottom feels like, and never want to get near it.
Yeah, I've got this sick competitive nature as well. I feel the same in you, where I'm like, if not only now, to an extent, it was like if I see someone else doing it, I know I can do better. But if I know someone out there can do or is doing something, I know that I can fucking, give it a shot.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and
I'm not giving it a shot to come close to them. I'm giving it a shot to absolutely destroy them. Right. Anybody in any place, anytime, anywhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
My mindset is like, I don't want to beat you. I want to absolutely take your soul, know? So I think that it's like a sickening desire. Like, if I know someone else can do it in this way, shape, or form, it's like, I got to get there.
Right.
I can do it.
And again, I think both of us were lucky in a sense where we kind of stumbled into a good company and good people.
Yep.
Right. So there's definitely a
great place, great coaches.
Right. And so there is definitely a portion of luck that plays into both our stories, but it's what you do with it.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I'm very thankful and understand that I was presented an opportunity. I'm glad that my 20-year-old self realized it was an opportunity.
Yeah.
And the goal, like you said, is to make sure that you don't leave anything on the table. Like when you can lay your head at night and realize, hey, I gave it a good effort today. Yeah. Right. That's how you go to bed easy.
Facts.
Instead of, just showing up and not doing much and going through the motions, you lay at night and I'm like, wait, that little girl's sleeping down the hall from me. I didn't give her my best today. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like and you don't need to have a family. You don't need to have a daughter to have that motivation. Like, you just find what clicks for you. And that's what's important. And like, I didn't realize how important that was at a young age. And I wish I understood, like, you got to find your why. You got to find your motivation. You got to find that drive. Yeah. Right. And it's the reason you're going to wake up and work harder than your buddies. Yep. Right. But yeah, man, there's a lot of heartache in what we do, but the rewards are insane.
Absolutely, bro. Well, as we wrap up, who do you want to shout out? What do you want to shout out? Any companies, friends?
No, just
yourself.
No, I'm good. It's just the Bespoke crew. I love those guys, the whole team. And then again, I'll shout out you, man. You've been nothing but phenomenal to us. I've really enjoyed learning more about your guys' company and learning who you are. I'm damn impressed by you, man. And I don't even care if you're 10 years younger than me. I'm learning a ton from you. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I think that's huge. Is you got to be humble enough to realize you can learn something from anyone.
Winners just want to win, bro. Yeah. It don't matter.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean? It don't matter who's fucking saying it. If it's winning, let's run the fucking play.
Yeah, dude. And again, like this kind of conversation is gonna wire me tomorrow. Yeah. Right. We're gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, fuck, I gotta practice what I preached with Tristan. Yeah. Right. Yeah, and bro. I'm gonna fucking beat Cody in the office tomorrow. Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's the stuff that, like you said, the competitive nature in us. Yes. But whatever tricks you gotta play to yourself. Like, for instance, I'll wrap it up with this. Michael Jordan story. He's playing the Knicks, and this rookie's going off on him. Yeah. Right? And rookie puts up 20 at halftime and goes up to Jordan, Jordan's telling the story. Yeah. And he's like, good game. So Jordan took offense to that. Second half just went nuts on him. Yeah. Scored like 40. And Jordan tells the story, right? This punk-ass kid said, good game to me, and I went nuts to him. Well, they asked the punk kid, and the kid goes, I never said that. Yeah. I'm too afraid to go talk to Jordan. Jordan made that up in his head. Yeah. To motivate him. Like, whatever you have to do. Yes. Do it.
Yeah, that story's nuts.
Yeah. Like, to think how sick he is to know he needs something to get him going. Yeah. So he just makes up a fucking story. Yep. And then goes for 40.
Yes. But shit's insane what it takes. Yeah. Well, peace out, podcast. We love you. Go ahead and share it if you want. But awesome.
Appreciate you, man.
Great episode, bro.
Yep.